the reality is some will be, some won't be. You can have incredibly mature kids and bright kids at different ages. Not everybody reaches there's not a sort of simultaneous moment of euphoric wisdom that happens when you turn 17 or 80. I know people who are 23 that are brighter than people I know that are 43. So, I work with 4 guys here who are all in their 20s, and 3 of them, are really, switched on. So, it's not about age all the time. Sorry.
0344 499 1000. 25 past 2. Let's return to this, but another angle on this. We've been discussing the government launching that last-ditch effort in the Supreme Court to block Shamima Begum from returning to Britain. Footage taken by a documentary maker showed Begum's ISIS husband telling his wife to stay strong and vowed to live with her again ahead of her Supreme Court case. Alan Duncan, former soldier and filmmaker, spent the last 18 months travelling to Syria and speaking with tens of Western ISIS members in refugee camps, and even rescued a kidnapped sex slave. Alan Duncan joins us now. Alan, good to talk again. This case was kind of always going in the direction that it's currently in. We will wait and see what is decided. Just give us your take then on what is happening there. Are we talking about one refugee camp where these people are kept, or are there many?
Well, they're calling it refugee camps. However, they are full of Western ISIS families. You've got one that's got roughly 65,000 in it. It's got 11,000 Western ISIS.
Wow.
And the rest are Syrian and Iraqi. Then you've got another camp that's got roughly 4,000 Western ISIS from all around the world in it at the minute. So, I hear this term refugee camp, but these are people that went to build and to support the caliphate.
So who's running these camps then? Who looks after them? Are they prisons?
It's the Northeast Administration in Northeast Syria, which is predominantly Kurdish, SDF, which is a Syrian Democratic Forces.
Sure.
They are running them just now with very, very little Western support. They've got hundreds of thousands that have been displaced themselves in the past year because of the Turkish attack on northeast Syria, for example. So the Kurds are having to deal, but it's not only Kurds. You've got Christians, you've got Yazidis, all within the administration. So it's not just Kurds, to make that clear as well.
But these people in these camps can't get out of them.
No, what's happening at the minute is there's escapes going on. I was just in Al Hol a few weeks ago again, and it's getting even more dangerous in there. Basically, what's happening is you've got them escaping. For example, a British woman that I interviewed there last year, Samia Hussein, escaped. She got back to Britain in February, and she has faced no charges for being a member of ISIS.
Yeah, what is that, as far as you can ascertain then, Alan? What is the deal there? That puts you a member of a terrorist organisation. That would be, I always thought, a criminal offence.
This is what I don't understand. Samia Hussein, as I say, the Met have said they're investigating her. I've got an interview with her. I think it's the only ever interview on camera. She's admitting when she joined ISIS in early 2015, she married an ISIS fighter. She is basically a member of a prescribed terrorist organisation. As Shamima Begum's husband admitted to me 3 weeks ago, Shamima was receiving a wage from ISIS, but I've known about this for a long time, but it was about getting it on camera. I know that all the Westerners were receiving a wage from ISIS also.
So there was a payment for being part of it. That obviously at some point went wrong. I think Begum in one interview said that, too many arguments began, it divided, it broke up, it was brittle, and hence she's ended up where she currently is. Is that about right? Do these little pockets and cells sort of fall apart because there's no one umbrella group?
Right. What happened? No, she's again. This is a lie by herself. I've got the full story from her husband. I've got the full story from when he married her to the last 200 meters of them surrendering, just at the outskirts of Baghouz, back in 2018. What happened was the caliphate was collapsing. Now, there's a comparison that I make here. When you look at Berlin, 1945, it was all mainly sort of foreign SS that were around Hitler's bunker. When it came to Baghouz, all the Westerners ended up in the final stand of ISIS. Why? Because they fully believed in the caliphate. They were there
Almost
to
more
end.
so than indigenous people.
The one thing that I've during this journey, as you know, I've interviewed ISIS from around the world, British, American, Canadian, Europeans. The one thing, and I've interviewed Syrian and Iraqi, but I also fought against them. The one thing that is very clear is Western ISIS, they joined 100% because they believed in the caliphate. They believed in everything that it was built on. Whereas local ISIS from Syria or Iraq, they've maybe joined because the tribal leader gave the loyalty to ISIS because of Hasta Shabi, so they saw ISIS as the better option. Many different reasons, but you're right, Ian. But the one thing that really got to me during all of this was the fact that the Westerners, even now, they still have no problem with what that caliphate was been built on.
And interesting,
they affected me.
Yeah, I was going to say, listening to some of the interviews with Shamima Begum, she doesn't really relinquish her belief about beheadings and torture and the like, and you can hear that. The only question that keeps getting thrown to me this afternoon, Alan, and I had a barrister on a second ago who raised this point, is that she was 15 when this happened. Therefore, she was radicalized. Therefore, nothing to see here because, we have to allow for the fact she was brainwashed and therefore isn't really in control of her own belief system.
Can I say something on that? I was speaking to Iago, her husband, as I say, just 3 weeks ago. And he'd brought up something during the interview. And it was about the bodies lying. You remember she talked about heads in bins and all the rest of this, as if it was normal. He also did the same. And he pretty much said to me, yeah, you just got used to it. The fact of the matter is that these bodies that they saw, they don't really, in a way, see them as bodies. They see them as enemies of the state. These people that were killed in the name of Shamima Begum and all other Western ISIS, there's something with ISIS. It doesn't matter your age, your sex, your religion. If you aren't with ISIS, you're the enemy.
But could she have made that decision as a 15-year-old? Seems to be the rub here that keeps coming up.
Yes, 100%. She's educated. She lived in Britain. She's educated in Britain. Like all of the Westerners, I was surprised how well educated a lot of them are. But I'm surprised at how many attended university, how many had degrees. This 15-year-old stuff, 15-year-olds are older than 15 these days. And there is the comparison. All these people that scream about are been 15 and brainwashed. Hang on a second. You're the same people that actually think a 16-year-old is adult enough to make a decision on voting.
Yeah, a point that's been raised a couple of times. And a final point, Alan, in terms of whose responsibility is Shamima Begum, what's your take on that?
Right, the Kurds, the North East administration is willing to put all ISIS on trial. The only country at the minute supporting that is Sweden. They are dealing with the world's terrorists. These people must stand trial in Syria in front of the people that they went to murder, to rape, to destroy. Justice must be done. A signal must be sent out to future ISIS and future extremists of any side. If you go to a country to destroy it, to kill, to murder, to rape, to sell its people, you stand justice there. You stand trial there. You answer for your crimes there. These people went to build a caliphate. They believed in everything, the crimes, everything they believed, because it was done in their name, in the building of their caliphate. So they must stand trial and answer to the people of Syria and of Iraq for their crimes.
And on that point, Alan, it's always fascinating to talk. That's documentary filmmaker, former soldier as well, Alan Duncan, with his take on the wider issue of the culture, the climate surrounding those journeys, and the thousands of Western ISIS that are in those current camps as well. You heard what he said. Over to you, 0344 499